Okay, you're watching this because you are scared to fail. And you're wondering, how do I overcome this? Every time I try to take action, I am scared. I'm scared that it's going to be the wrong move. I'm scared that the action I'm going to take is going to make me fall flat on my face. I'm scared that I'm going to launch something and I'm going to have zero engagement, zero sales, and zero success on something that I spent time on and it just didn't work out. So I am here to help you overcome these crazy fears of you failing, all by shifting your mindset, okay? Because that's all it is. It's a shift in mindset to build a new belief, and that belief is what's going to help you take action, okay? So I just want to let you know that you are not weird for feeling this way. You are not unqualified just because you are so scared to fail. This is normal. We've all been there. I've been there. I still have fear. I just have learned to shift my mindset when it comes to fear, when fear presents itself in my life. Today I want to show you something, and I want you guys to know that failure isn't in the end. In fact, it's often the beginning of the most beautiful parts of your life. So let me share 5 shifts in perspective that changed how I view failure and how they can change your life too. Number 1, failure is a teacher, not a sentence. Number 2, failure doesn't define you, your response does. Number 3, failure just means that you are brave and courageous enough to try. Number 4, failure builds the strength that you need in order for you to succeed. And number 5, the fear of failure is worse than fear itself. So let's get into it. Failure is a teacher, not a sentence. We often see failure as punishment, okay? And we attach it to our worth, to our identity. But what if failure isn't the enemy, right? What if it's the greatest teacher that we'll ever have? So I'll tell you a little experience that I had when I first faced fear and how much fear I had of failing. And it was when I started selling online, okay? I spent so much time preparing. I had to have the perfect website, the perfect product, the perfect marketing plan, or so I thought. And I launched, and guess what happened? Nothing. Not one sale, not one lead, not one response, nothing. I was devastated. And the first thought that I had was, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if I'm good at this. I don't think I'm good at this. And thank God I had people that I looked up to. They would tell their stories. And this is why it's so important to just keep it real with your journey. And I always keep it real. I'm very raw. I'm very transparent on what it took for me to have success, because I was looking up to a couple of mentors on social media, and they would tell their stories, and a lot of it had to do with failure. And so instead of letting the belief of, oh, I'm not cut out for this, because we all know where that would have led if we kept continuing to think that way, I would have quit and I would have gone back to the land of familiar, which is something that I was trying to get away from. I wanted to create a story of resiliency. That's when I first was so stubborn in not giving up. I'm like, okay, I decided to take the route that my mentors went on and got back up and tried again. But before I got back up and tried again, instead of saying like, why me? Why did this happen to me? I'm not good enough. Instead, I asked, what can I learn from this? Okay, so anything that you felt like you failed towards, or if you are about to take action, just understand that there is likely a big chance that it will flop, okay? That there will be certain expectations that are not gonna be met, and it's gonna feel like you failed. So when that happens, I want you to remember this video and come back and ask, okay, what can I learn from this? It's okay, this happened and it will happen, because all the successful people that I know have failed. So we're here now, how can we recover from this? And this is how you kind of start to create a solution-based mindset, okay? This is a mindset strategy that I had to learn every time things got rough, okay? Every time I was an emotional mess, every time things didn't go my way, okay? I sat there and I'm like, all right, we're here. I know I don't have control over everything that happens in my life. So now that we're in this situation, what can I learn from this? Okay, so that failure, that was the first failure that taught me the importance of understanding my audience, understanding how to build trust with my audience and to show up consistently. Because when I asked that question, what can I learn from this? Well, I wasn't showing up consistently. I only showed up when I was ready to sell my audience on something. And let me tell you, people will know right off the bat when you are only trying to sell them something, especially when you're showing up out of nowhere, right? So that's something that I had to learn, that no matter, even when you're not selling anything, you should still be showing up every single day. But I would have never known what I needed to do more of if I didn't fail, because it brought me humility. It brought me awareness of like, okay, we're humble, we're here, it didn't work out, but it made me more coachable. Number 2, failure doesn't define you, your response does. Okay, failure isn't a reflection of who you are, it's just something that happens, okay? What matters is how you respond to it. So, a personal experience of mine where I experienced failure and how I responded to it. One time, years ago, I had a chance to speak at an event and I was excited, but terrified, of course, nervous. I rehearsed for days, but when I got up there, guess what happened? I forgot everything. I rehearsed the whole speech and literally forgot everything that I rehearsed for the 2 hours. I froze, I stumbled through my words and left the stage feeling absolutely humiliated. And for weeks, I let that moment define me. And I told myself, you're not a good speaker. You shouldn't do this again. Until one day, the mindset that I have of like, no, why shouldn't I be able to do this? Of course I can get good at this. Okay, of course I can master this craft. Like, it was almost like I have a stubborn bone in me of like, no, I'm not gonna allow for my story to be that I failed and I stayed there and never tried again. No, what did I do? I studied my mistakes. I practiced more intentionally and I gave another speech. Number 3, failure just means you're brave enough to try. You are courageous for doing this. You are bold. You are brave. You know, the average person wouldn't even dare to try something that you're doing right now, which is why they are living an average life, which if that's okay, if they're happy with that, good for them. But you, on the other hand, you want more. And to want and crave more and have a better life, it requires bravery, it requires courageousness, it requires boldness, and you were willing to try that. So just understand that the people who never fail are the ones who never try. The very act of failing just means you had the courage to step into that arena. Number 4, success requires a very different human being, okay? And by different, that means different characteristics, very rare characteristic. Failure, you know what failure does? It builds the strength that you need for you to succeed. Success isn't about avoiding failure, it's about building resilience through it. For me, I would have never been able to accomplish anything that I have today if I didn't go through the setbacks, the heartbreak, the depression, the uncomfortability of knowing that I could have more, the loneliness. Without them, I wouldn't have had this characteristic that I have today. Like, it's unexplainable. Whenever I go out there and accomplish something, I have the characteristic of mental toughness because I welcome challenges. I have the bring it on mentality of like, all right, if a challenge presents itself, I might cry about it for like 2 minutes, but I'm back in the game. It doesn't mean I'm not gonna do it, okay? It means I might throw a little pity party for like 2 minutes, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna stay there forever. I come back in the game, and it's this mental toughness of like, I need to do it. I must do it. It's not I should. Oh, I should get up today and work on my business. I should get up today and go to the gym. I should get up today and work on these skills that are going to help me make money. No, it was never that mindset. The mindset was I must do it. I must go all in. I must become the person I need to become in order to receive and attract the success that I want, right? So in order for me to have these characteristics, I needed to be beaten down a couple of times to humble me, to open up, to be coachable and be like, okay, what do I need to unlearn? What do I need to learn and grow in order for me to become this person to receive and attract success? And last but not least, the fear of failure is worse than failing itself. So we spend so much time imagining the worst case scenario that we paralyze ourselves. The worst case scenarios that we picture become so real. Like for me, I know this personally that I would do this. I would self-sabotage so badly. When I would think about the desires that I had, I immediately went to fear mode and lack mode and started picturing the worst case scenarios to the point where my hands started sweating. I started getting nervous. I started getting anxious because it felt so real. And that's what the mind can do for all of us. It can make us feel a fake scenario that has never happened before. And guess what happens? You are now in a negative frequency. You're in a low frequency. And what does low frequency attract? More lack, more problems, more things going wrong, more of the things that you don't want. That fear of failing, you probably already envisioned a worst case scenario, right? But often the reality of failure is far less scary than the fear itself. So what I would always do is I would always go like, relax, tell myself, calm down. And I would write, what's the worst thing that could happen? What's the worst thing that could happen? You launch a product and nobody buys. What's the worst case scenario in that? That you are the only one that knows that it didn't work out, because who else would know that nobody bought from you, right? So, and then you start to realize like, but did I die? No. So sometimes we just have to really like get into reality of things, write it down, and you realize like, wow, yeah, it really isn't that bad. If you're scared to fail, let me leave you with this. Failure isn't the end. It's the beginning. It's not your identity. It's your greatest teacher. It's not a wall. It's a stepping stone. In my eyes, the only definition of failure is not trying. So when I realized that, I'm like, if I don't try, I'm failing. Like I'm a sore loser. I am a failure. Like if I'm not trying. So I encourage you guys to fail forward. Welcome failure. It's going to happen. I'm telling you right now, there's no way to go around the definition that you have of failure, because the definition of failure to me is not trying. But you guys think, oh, if I do all of this and it doesn't work out, that's failure. So your definition of failure is always going to present itself. It's always going to be there. So bring it on, grow the characteristic that you need to grow and become in order to withstand the failure that you guys define failure as, and so that you can keep persevering. Because the only way, again, that you will ever fail is if you never try. If you like this, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, okay? I'm growing this channel for you guys. I want to give and pour so much into you guys every week, and the only way that I'm going to be able to do that is if you continue to engage, if you continue to follow this journey, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.